Hello, everyone. Welcome NTL Sports episode 151. Uh, Pretty good weekend for some. Maybe for us Mason people, we're a little down. Lawrence is a little down after the heartbreaking loss in the A10 final. I am too, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And we got a little bit of NFL to cover. Some big extensions hit last night, excuse me, and this morning. So we'll cover those as well and give you our NCAA, NIT, and I guess the regular tournament predictions. So, with all that being said, guys, stay tuned. All right, everyone, we're back. Let's get into this. Let's start off with the NFL, and then we'll get into this juicy NCAA, NIT, A10 drama. First up, Cooper Kupp, I think, signed on like Saturday or something. So he is heading to the Seahawks. So, they lose Geno, they lose DK. They let go of Tyler, and then they replace those guys with Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp, and then they have JSN who led the team. I'm pretty sure in yards and catches last year. So, how do you feel about the signing, Lawrence? Do you think it's enough to kind of get them back to where they were, or you're not a fan? Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much just they're in the same spot. You get a guy, you move off a guy that didn't want to be there. You bring in a guy that does want to be there. He's motivated. And JSN is on the rise. So I mean, it all rides on what they do in the draft. They got a lot of spots to fill. So this is like a work in progress. Cowboys signed Dante Fowler. Played with the Commanders last year. I think he had like 10. This is right here, 10.5 sacks. They need edge rushing, I guess, because the Marcus Lawrence he left right and had some smoke with with Micah on Twitter. That was pretty funny. Like last Friday. So how you feel about this one? Hmm. Yeah, I agree. They need to. They've been really cheap and um, not really doing anything to move the needle for me. So I agree with you on that one. Cup, and then the Vikings trade for Mason. Mason, the running back from the 49ers who filled in for C-Mac for a good chunk of the year. I like it as long as Vikings offensive line is decent. I just hope he recover from his injury and can keep up the same level of success. How you feel about this one?
There's two running backs ahead of him. He's just filler. He's just death piece. Let's get to what you really want to talk about. Your T. Higgins and Jamar Chase um, tandem duo on offense, um, in your goal of giving up 90 points per game on your defense.
All right, well that's not true, and I can give up 90 points. All right,
Okay, maybe
but
about
yeah,
70.
and not that much either.
I don't know. I think
It,
every
it,
drive you're going to get cooked because you got no D line, you got no secondary, you got no linebackers.
that's all a work in progress. We gotta take care of some other business, and
I don't know if drafting
little
fix all
bird,
your
to,
defensive problems.
a little birdie told me that Trey's deal might be done. I'm dropping out a little nugget here. Hopefully by next episode, it might come to be true. But just gonna lay that out for you guys. I heard the deal's done. But yeah, I gave what did I gave T like what 90% chance to get signed. And I had Trey the odd man out, or no, I had T the odd man out, but Trey 100%. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I thought it was 90% chance they got it done. T and Jamar had the same agent, so I think the agent said, "Hey, if you want Jamar, you got to pay T." and that was enough to get the Bengals to budge. They made Jamar the highest paid non-quarterback, uh, at least for a little bit until Micah gets paid. So that's good for him. Shout out to Jamar. Shout out Uno and T too. He had what 4 years, 115. Probably he took a little bit of a discount. I'm willing to bet and tell me if I'm wrong. I'm willing to bet maybe your Panthers or the Patriots would probably pay him 32, 33, but I think with incentives he can get to 30. So he's not far off of Ayuk with incentives, but he did take a little bit of a hometown discount. But what do you think? Do you think this is a good deal for him? I know he left a little money on the table, but
It's a great
he
deal
loves
for
the
him. He
situation.
gets injured too often.
Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people are like, well, could have got more, but you gotta also put into consideration he's a soft tissue guy, so he just pulls he pulls hamstrings every year. Like it's going to happen. So you gotta anticipate him missing like 3 to 4 games. It's just some guys are like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think with the budgeting they did, knowing he's going to miss a few games every season, I don't think it's a bad deal. The only reason I think it's a bad deal is there's just way too much money on this team put into the offense that, and just those 3 positions alone, it really prevents you from building, I want to say, mainstay pieces at any other position on your entire team. Like, O-line, you're never getting unless it's a draft pick, which means you have 4 seasons before you have to like really pay him again. You can never have an amazing standout O lineman. You're gonna have to get bottom of the barrel. You're gonna have to scrub and pray that these guys pan out, because you can't really afford to pay big money to like a Trent Williams, if there were Trent Williams to pop up. You don't have the luxury of paying them because all your money is in your wide receivers and your quarterback. You're not going to have the option to, build pieces at every single position. Your focus is not going to change. Well, we have enough money to get us a talented defensive line. Our secondary will suffer and our linebacker will suffer. But at least we can get to the quarterback. Or, okay, we're not going to be able to get to the quarterback, but we have a really good secondary that like we can mitigate the damage. I just think that there's so much money in the offense that there really is no mitigating what the defense isn't going to be able to overcome, and or the O-line's not going to be able to overcome, because you just cannot, with all those guys getting that much money, unless we just are actually in a world where the salary cap does not exist, just physically pay people that much.
Yeah, I agree with you on the point that you can't have also have a really good defense. You're gonna have to pick your poison, like you said. Either you're gonna have to have a pretty decent D line, or you're gonna have a pretty decent secondary. And this really comes down to the direction they go with Trey. If the deal is done like I've heard it is, then they're gonna double down on the D line. They signed the Packers guy Slayton. He's a good run stuffer. They signed the Eagles linebacker that stepped in for what's his name? Forgot his name, but he stepped in for him. Bond, I believe, in a couple of games. So they're hoping he pans out. And so yeah, they're gonna double down on the D line in the draft. I know they're probably gonna take an edge and probably a D tackle at the very least, maybe even a linebacker. So secondary, I'm not too worried because they spent the last 3 or 4 drafts trying to get young at secondary, and so they're gonna just hope those guys pan out. And we've seen some promise, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, you're right. They got a nail on these draft picks, but it's kind of a damn if you do, damn if you don't, right, Lawrence? Because people were saying, "Oh, gotta pay T, gotta pay Jamar," and now that they paid him, they're like, "Oh, and rightfully so. They say, "Oh, well, your defense is gonna suck. You shouldn't have paid T. You could have got better defensive players." It's like if you're a Bengals fan and the just organization, it's like take 1 step forward and 2 steps back with a lot of the media. They just kind of make up these narratives that that are kind of a little overinflated. I still think they can field a good team. At the very least, we just need a middle of the pack defense. We don't need an Eagles defense.
Yeah, I think you could survive with a middle of pack defense, and I'm not saying that you couldn't. My main issue comes with the fact that we have 2 really good guys as at wide receiver. However,
Yeah.
how are you going to give Joe Burrow 4 seconds to throw the ball with a below average offensive line? Like, game in, game out, Joe Burrow is probably taking about 6 sacks per game. Now, being
Maybe
said that,
2 years ago, not this past year. The
I
line
think
got
he's
better.
going to get sacked about 6 times per game. That's my average. I looked at your O line, and there's
No,
no one on
sir.
that O line. There's no one on that O line that is going to protect Joe consistently, game in and game out. There's just no one on it. I mean, you're going to have to
Well,
draft
if you look at
somebody.
the tackles, Mims, and we stole OBJ from the Chiefs. They're solid. Okay, they're solid. Mims was a rookie. He held his ground as a rookie. For the Bengals, it was their guards. The guards were both ranked like second to last and then last. They got rid of the last one. The second to last guy's still there, so I think that's where they gotta pick it up. But the tackles are solid. I'm not too worried about that. Center is really good too. I'm not worried about the center.
Well, I look at your line, and I think it's not very good. Just coming from a guy with a team who has the highest paid O line, and even though we were bad, it was nice to watch Bryce Young not have to die. I can quite honestly say it was nice to have one season, even though we were bad, to not have to look at Bryce Young and be like, damn, they're gonna get my boy killed. Damn, that little midget gonna die. Last year, that little midget got to run around. Like he got to do whatever he wanted. He didn't have to worry about anything. He had the 2 best guards, arguably, at a duo in the league. He's got an older right tackle and a younger left tackle. Center is what we really needed, but they're gonna try to run it back with Austin Corbett and see if he can go one more year and not get injured first game back. So, but regardless of that, Caden Mays came in and did a fine enough job. But I don't know. I'm not seeing anything with your Bengals O line that's like, yeah. Because last year, all I remember was your O line by week 6 or something was completely decimated, and the guy you said that did really good, Mims, right? Wasn't he playing like 4 different positions throughout the season?
Nope, he stayed right tackle. I think he
There was
played the last couple of games with I think he like broke his hand or something. He played through that. So shout out to him as a
Who's
rookie.
the guy that was TikTok famous because he broke up with that girl, but he was on the O line. But he
I don't
played
know,
like
maybe in
every
the backup,
position.
the Cody Ford. And
Yeah, that
he
guy.
was the guy that moved around. Yeah, he's
He
actually we
played every
re-signed
position.
him, so he's a decent O lineman for the price
Yeah,
too. So
but the problem is he had to play every position because it was decimated. And there was like a lack of depth. I mean, I remember one of your games where Cody Ford got injured. Thanks for reminding me the name. And then all the commentators were wondering, well, what the fuck are they going to do? They got nobody else. And then they sent him back out there after they just said that he hurt his hamstring. And you're watching him block, and he looks like trash. And so they had to run the ball for like 3 straight plays just to get him right again. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I think Joe Burrow will probably hit the minimum 45 to 50 sacks in 1 year club if he makes it to the season. I think Joey B's in for another death.
okay, I love the optimism. But no, they're gonna address that, so I'm not too worried about that. So I think they get the highest amount in like 3 guys for right now until Micah gets paid. Once Micah gets paid, then you'll have Dak who makes like 60. Micah will make about 41, 42, and CD makes what, like 33, 32? CD's up there. He's right behind Jay Jettas. I don't know at what spot though, but
Yeah, I'm not too sure of wide receivers and everything's I guess budgets. All I know is that as soon as we made J.C. Horn the highest paid CB, and everyone was like, "Oh, why would you give J.C. Horn the highest paid CB?" Within I think it was 4 or 5 days, Stingley got paid.
Stingley.
So now you can't call us out for having the highest paid CB anymore. Stingley got more money, and we knew it was coming because JC's really good, but Patrick Surtain definitely got the bottom end of the stick because I think he signed a deal 1 year too early. Because with the new salary cap, going up. CB's probably going to get a little bit more money. And, I mean, let's be realistic here. I think Stingley did deserve a couple, like a bit of money.
Stingley's locked down.
Yeah,
He deserved the 30 million.
yeah. So
And
we
like you
knew that
said,
was coming. It was a good flip of the market. We got JC at a good price compared to Stingley. I think there's 2 more corners within the next year who have to get paid.
Sauce and
Sauce.
the
I know
maybe Brant or maybe Gonzalez.
Gonzalez is like 2 years away. He's the same as Witherspoon from Seattle. I know Sauce. I think it was Sauce and Stingley that were going to change it next.
Well, yeah, because Stingley actually is 2 years early. So yeah, he's on his 3rd year. So yeah, I think you're right. He just got his done early.
But I don't know if Sauce wants to re-sign with the Jets based on some of the things he put out.
Yeah,
I think
that depends on. I think that depends on how they do this year with Fields. What do you think?
I could agree with that. It depends on how they do this year with Fields, full-heartedly. I don't know. I just feel like the Jets as an organization, there's just something in the water that's not right. They can never get it right. It's
the owner who looks at their Madden ratings and decides makes decisions based off of that.
No, is it him looking at the Madden ratings, or is it his kids that he's listened to that look at the Madden ratings?
His kids that say, "Hey, Dad, this guy is like an 80. We need a 90." He's like, "All right, son, let's do it." And then it blows up in their face.
That the QB that you want to push up is old as hell. No, Dad, that doesn't matter in Madden. They don't get hurt in Madden, Dad.
Yeah.
They don't get hurt in Madden, Dad. Hey, what are you talking about, Dad?
Yeah, Woody Johnson's that's a story for another day. That guy's crazy. Yeah, Stingley was the last thing. Oh, I guess technically Lane Johnson just like redid his deal like 30 minutes ago. So shout out to him. I think he might be the highest paid tackle now. I don't know. He's up there, but he got like another like 40-some million in like guarantees or something. So Eagles keep paying their guys. I guess now we get to the A10 and the damage that was done this past yesterday, Sunday. Mason, unfortunate loss to VCU in the A10 tournament at Capital One. We were live in attendance. What are your thoughts, Lawrence, on the game overall? Obviously Mason was kind of hoed a little bit by the refs. Very unfair, calls and stuff like that. But what are your takeaways?
I feel like the first half is really where it was amplified. There was just so many ticky-tack things that Mason they were playing great defense, and their hands would literally be at their side, and they're getting called fouls for like reach-ins, and their hands aren't even reaching in. I know Jack Clark for the VC Ram, almost all his points came at the line. He literally almost only made points from
the number 4. Yeah. Number 4.
He only made points from the free throw line, and he was just constantly there. And then Shulga, whatever his name is, the little Ukrainian who doesn't want to go get blown up. Yeah, dude, all he did was just try to get fouls too. All he would do was flop around the whole time. Go flop in that home country. I bet you the Russians ain't gonna care. I don't know.
He's a flopper for sure. I just thought kind of spread throughout the whole team.
What really got to me was they could flop around, they could act like all these different things, and they would just eat it. All first half, they would just eat it. And then second half, they stopped it as much. And then we got late to the crunch time, just go right back to it. They did do it. I would say they did do it for both ways. But at that point, we had been begging for it for over 30 minutes at that point. We've been begging for it. Then you finally start giving it to us, but then you're going to give it right back to them. That Shulga guy, again, he slipped and fell. They showed the replay. You should have reviewed it. There was like 2 minutes left. Those are things you're supposed to review. He legitimately slipped. There was no one touching him. They didn't review it. He made 3 free throws, and that honestly was pretty much game, because if he didn't get that call, it was only 2 points. The game sways way different. You don't call that. I also don't believe that, like, as the A10, right? We want to make conferences feel like they're valued and like they have like they're like they have meaning to the season. Honestly, if you're in like these mid-major teams, like, what is the point of the season unless you win the whole thing at the very end? We can have a great regular season, does not matter, because we're gonna let 14 teams from the SEC in. 14. There's only 16 of them. The only two that didn't make it were South Carolina and LSU, and they had a combined 5 wins. I'm sorry, Oklahoma had 6 SEC wins, and they're like a 9 seed, a 10 seed. Like, what are you talking about? They don't deserve that. Vanderbilt's a 10 seed. They don't deserve that. They won like 8 games in the SEC. I get it, the SEC's super good. That's cool and all, but like there are other conferences that were really good. They said like 2 weeks ago the Big Ten was going to get like 12 teams. They ended up getting 8. What happened to those 4 teams that they just said, oh, you're going to get in, but then you didn't get in? UNC sucks ass pretty much the whole season. 1-12 against quad 1 games. I'm sorry, George Mason had a quad 1 win, and we were only 1-4 in quad 1. And then we were undefeated in quad 2. Where's our where's our bid? You know, I think it was West Virginia had more quad 1 wins than San Diego State, UNC, and Texas combined.
Yep.
And West Virginia didn't get in. And then they were like, well, I'm not playing in the stupid NIT. And then for the NIT, we're going to have 6 A10 teams get in the NIT, but you can only give one a bid to the NCAA tournament. That's just a joke. Like, that's absolutely diabolically a joke. And I get it. UNC is going to sell more tickets and make them more money, but in reality, I also don't believe that's true. Because whoever UNC plays in the round of 68, what is it, San Diego State? I'm pretty confident if you put George Mason in there, or not even just George Mason, you put UC Irvine, because I believe UC Irvine deserved to make it as well. I think it's from the Big West. UC Irvine completely deserved to make it. I mean, I'm pretty sure their only losses in their conference all season were to UC San Diego, which was their number 1 overall seed, won the tournament. And like, you punish that team, they're number 1 overall in the NIT. The same amount of people are going to watch San Diego State versus UC Irvine as they are UNC versus San Diego State. It's just the truth. Why? Because people, 1, are betting on it. 2, it's March Madness. No one cares who's playing. All we care about is Cinderellas, or all we care about is basketball and the most, crunch time, crucial part of the season. So, by God, we don't care if UNC is there or not. You don't have to put them there just because of their name. You don't. People are still going to watch. People are still going to bet their money. And people are still going to buy tickets because it's right around the road. That's right around the corner. Dayton fans, it's the first 4 is always in Dayton. Dayton people always show up to basketball. Doesn't matter who's playing.
Yes, they do. There's a big crowd. They travel well. Yeah, I agree with you. It's it's very messed up, especially with that UNC athletic director. I think you say he's head of the committee. Mm-hmm. He gets a bonus, $100,000 bonus if UNC makes it, and then another $100,000 if they make the Sweet 16 or something like that. So, it's just fraud and just a bunch of BS at the end of the day. Like, it's the NCAA. At some point, I think they need like some investigating into themselves. Like, it has to get fixed. I mean, they're just a bunch of crooks at the end of the day, and this is just literally a proof. Like, how's a standing AD has bonuses tied to his school being in tournament, and he is literally ahead of said tournament committee that selects the teams in there. Like, I don't understand the logic, the tournament just loses its integrity at that point. Like, it's just a money grab, and people, how can people trust that you really have, right intentions at mind? I think that Mason deserved a bid. Played well, co-champs. lost to 5 to the number 1 seed in the tournament. Not like we got blown out, and like you said, people are gonna watch March Madness regardless of who's playing. So why not give a team who's finished second in their tournament, in their conference tournament, and was co-champs in the regular season? Why not give them a shot? Like, why not throw them a flyer? Like, doesn't make any sense. SEC, I get it. Power Five. They love their Power Five schools and they have more control than some of these mid majors. But there's got to be a better way to fix it. Else, I mean, I think the mid majors, maybe a suggestion is just stop letting these Power Four, Power Five schools stop using you as fodder. Like, hey, we're just not gonna play you guys if you guys gonna get all the bids. Like, we'll just play each other so we don't screw up our records. Because if we lose to Duke, if we lose to Auburn, if we lose to Louisville, Clemson, it looks bad for us. But on the flip side, if they can lose to each other and it doesn't matter at all. So I mean, it's so stupid and how they calculate this stuff. So I think that's the way they can go about it. What do you think?
I just think they need to get away from the quads. Like it's like an unnatural. It's unfair to the smaller schools because, no offense, but basketball is basketball, and it doesn't really truly matter who you beat. It kind of matters more of the team makeup and what they can do. If you got a good mid-major team whose 5 starters are seniors, they're literally a top 10 defense in all of NCAA. Like, that's something that a lot of teams can't say. They can't say they're top 10 at defense. Would you not rather see that? I get it. We want offense this, offense. Would you not rather see that than a mediocre? And when I say mediocre, I do mean mediocre UNC team. Like, there's nothing good about this UNC team other than RJ Davis. And
they're like 280 something in defense. They don't play any defense in UNC.
And then, like, not even that. Like, their seating, like, you could tell, and I've seen it somewhere so many times, where multiple people have said that, like, the committee stopped paying attention after Friday afternoon when UNC made that great comeback against Duke. And all the committee was like, well, I think that's all we needed to give them a bid. Like, teams like Louisville, right? Clemson's a 5 seed. Louisville beat Clemson in the ACC tournament. Louisville was 13 overall in the country and is an 8 seed. How does that work? I don't get that one. I don't understand how that works in the slightest. Clemson's a 5 seed, so the ACC got no love outside of Duke. And then you got teams, like I said, all these SEC teams getting these high, and I do mean high rankings. And then we got, like, Memphis, who dominated their entire conference. I'm pretty sure they were top 20 in the country. Are going in here as a 5 seed. Questionable. Very questionable. Like Texas A&M. They don't deserve to be a 3 or 4 seed. They are. How are you going to be over Louisville? They're ranked higher than you. What do these rankings even mean? I know they always say, like, oh, the team that normally wins the NCAA tournament was ranked blah, blah, blah in the top 25 in week, I think it's 6 or 12, or whatever it is. Do those rankings even matter at this point? Because we're just letting anybody in. Georgia doesn't even have to play in the play-in game. Vanderbilt didn't. I mean, the fact that Texas did, like, fair to Texas. So, like, dude, they were sub 500 in their own conference, and then sub 500 overall almost. Sorry, not sorry. And then to make the record better, like, all they did at the beginning of the season was beat up on some bad teams. Like, that record is low-key skewed. They don't act like Texas didn't play University of Texas at Rio Grande, third game of the season and beat them out by like 40 points. Don't act like they didn't do that. You kind of should reward mid-majors for playing these hard teams, even though they lose. You should probably go back and look at the box score and go every. I think this is why when what's his name from Villanova, the old Villanova coach, Jay Wright was talking about how they need to go to quarters. The women playing quarters, The men's NBA plays in quarters. WNBA plays in quarters. College basketball for men's is the only one that just plays in halves. They should break it down to quarters. Don't even change it up. 10, 10, 10. Just make it 10 minutes per quarter. Gives time to reset, everything like that. But it lets you look at the box score. So if we look at the box score for those games, George Mason's going to look good against Marquette. First 3 quarters, we're in it. Last quarter, you lost it. Against Duke, first 2 quarters, you're in it. Well, last 2 quarters, you lost it. You could break it down and look at the science of it that way. You wouldn't even have to look at 2 halves. You could look at the tail of the tape throughout the fight.
Hey, I'm in favor of that. I think that's a good suggestion. Not against
whatever I gotta put out here to tell them to stop putting so many large at bids in there from Power 5s. So be it. I guess Power 4 now, but regardless, I do believe that news would be a thing. Because the only conference they even looked at outside of the Big Four was the Mountain West. And that was
Mountain West, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty pathetic. But also, San Diego State getting in. Didn't you guys lose first round of your conference tournament? Why are we rewarding that? You got smoked by Boise State. And then Boise State got beat up by Colorado State. And then by all disrespect possible, you put Colorado State in the tournament as a 12 seed so that a team that's Memphis has to play this red hot Colorado State team that, let's be real, does not deserve to be a 12 seed. They should be a 10 seed. They should switch spots with Vanderbilt. It shouldn't be the other way around.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that they got to fix. Let's look at the NIT. In the meantime, Mason, we already alluded to this. Mason is a 2 seed. In the same bracket as Dayton. In the regular season, we beat Dayton at Dayton. So I don't understand why Mason is a 2 seed, but keep the hate going, I guess. But we play Wednesday, 7 p.m. We host Samford in the first round. What are your predictions about that game, Lawrence? And then just about the rest of the tournament, how you think it's going to go?
Well, Samford has 0 defense. I know that one for a fact. I paid attention to them last year when they were super good.
Yeah.
And when they got hoed by Kansas, remember when the block, it wasn't a block. No, sorry. The block that was perfect by all measurable amounts of perfect got called
it was a goaltend.
A foul. Okay,
right?
Sorry, goaltend. No, I think it was a goaltend. And then every review in Mother's name saw it was perfect, and they still ruled against it. It's not the same Samford team, though. I think George Mason can easily take care of business. And no offense, I'm not afraid of North Alabama or Bradley. Whoever comes out of that, truly not scared at all. Mainly because Bradley's only ability is to shoot threes. I think we can lock that down and stop that. I think our main problem is we won't shoot threes, but against 2 bad teams, in that little region that we're in, they're all bad at defense. So that is our only leverage. And I'm also not really afraid of Dayton because I've been high on the team, Middle Tennessee, all season. I think they're slept on. I think they got a tough draw against Chattanooga. I think Chattanooga is just as good as they are. And I can see Chattanooga or Middle Tennessee beating Dayton because I didn't think Dayton was all that good this season. And I think they're overhyped, and I think they're really only name value. I think that's all they are is name value. If you look across the pond from it, SMU, that's going to be a tough team to eliminate. By God, they are. North Texas as well, but I also think North Texas is just straight up defense. If you look at their offensive statistics, they are in the top or bottom 300 in almost all the offensive stats. So they are piss poor on offense. They just have a wickedly good defense. I think Oklahoma State is overrated at a 4 seed. A 15-17 record should not be a 4 seed. There's too many other teams that are throughout this whole bracket you could get a 4 seed to. I'm also looking at Georgia Tech when I call that out. There's just way too many teams that are just better than that. San Jose State on the other side shouldn't be a 4 seed. There's too many teams that are just better than that. Moving on, UC Irvine. I think UC Irvine takes that whole region I think the only one that gives them fits is like a St. Joe's or a Jacksonville State, which I think Jacksonville State could. I think either UC Irvine or Jacksonville State comes out of that. I'm probably going to take Stanford in San Francisco. I know it's pretty lame, but I don't think the rest of that division in the bottom is very good. And I think I'm going to take SMU, and I think it's going to be wild for me to say it, but I'm going to take Arkansas State. I think they were really good at offense, and there's just no one. I mean, they have to get through North Texas with bottom tier offense. I think the Arkansas State goes straight through it. And honestly, I would take us biasly or Chattanooga in our section. I think Chattanooga was completely slept on, and Chattanooga is one of those teams. You messed up right at the end. You did. Chattanooga tried to load up their out of season. Took a lot of hard challenges. Didn't work out. Went nuclear in their own conference. Lost the final. Boo-hoo. And now you're not even ranked in the NIT. So, and you got to look across the pond at a 15-17 Oklahoma State and wonder to yourself, how the freak did that happen? I would too. I would completely be dumbfounded that I'm playing first round Middle Tennessee instead of Wichita State. I would be dumbfounded.
All right, cool. Yeah, I have Mason at least in the first two games. I don't want to jinx anything, but I just think they got a lot to prove after this tough loss because Mason didn't play well until the last couple of minutes of the second half, and when they played well, they gave VCU hell. So I expect them to keep that same type of energy and intensity, especially at home. So it's gonna be a good game to watch. I can't wait to cheer on at Eagle Bank 7 p.m. on Wednesday. So that's gonna be cool.
I don't know if it's true, but I hope it is that Haynes has one more season of eligibility. I think it said here.
Oh, okay.
So, and by all accounts, hopefully he can. If he can't, come back.
Yeah, I thought senior night. I think his name was he did the whole presentation, so I just assumed he was gone. But if he wants to be a graduate student, hey, we need you, big fella. Think about it, sleep on it. We need you. Who knows what kind of big men? Yeah, because I don't think 5 can do it next year. Lawrence 5 is he's just big but no skill, man. I'm sorry to say, but big fella, you you not like Big Haynes.
Yeah.
All right, the regular tournament. Since I guess more than likely we're going to the game on Wednesday, so it won't be an episode. So, what are your first weekend predictions? Any upsets? Any surprises?
If I'm gonna go with some upsets, it might be a little bit of a wild one. In this region alone, I think UC San Diego can give Michigan fits if things go right. I don't believe that picking Louisville to beat Creighton is an underdog or is an upset. But if I had a lock, I would probably take Louisville to beat Creighton. I didn't think Creighton was all that good this season. I thought really Louisville was very slept on. And I think the reason they were so slept on is because of how bad they were last year. But we got to start looking at, I guess, season to season. I think we just got to start looking at teams season to season like we used to. Because it's not like we're building talent anymore, especially with these big market teams. It's all about the NIL. It's all about who am I going to bring in? What big splash can I have? Big upset possibility. I don't think it's going to happen, but Yale. I mean, they did it last year, 2 years ago. I think it was last year against.
I think it was last
Auburn.
year. Yeah.
They got a good offense. They got the same guys that did it last year. And Texas A&M, for what all it is, there's just points where their offense is just lackluster. They can't hit threes. And honestly, that's kind of what kills people is when mid-major teams, you learn that they can shoot threes pretty good, and we can't. And that might be a kryptonite for you. It could bite you in the ass. Honestly, I think a lot of the upsets are going to come in the lower bracket because I don't see Liberty beating Oregon. I don't see VCU beating
No.
BYU. I just truly don't see how
No.
BYU is going to even struggle with VCU. Montana's not going to give Wisconsin any problems. Maybe if St. Mary is the underdog, I take St. Mary, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be the favorite. But you look at the Rolo region, this is where it's going to be like upset galore, in my opinion. Because I think Gonzaga could beat Houston second round. I think putting them in the same region was a little bit disrespectful. Not going to lie. I think UNC Wilmington as a 14 was a little disrespectful, but Texas Tech is just way too good. I don't think there's much they can do about that. But Drake to beat Missouri should be looked at from everyone's point of view, because Missouri doesn't have enough speed to like really pressure Drake's slow pace, and Drake loves to control games. Memphis and Colorado State. I mean, I'm pretty sure Colorado State's the favorite in that game, which is completely disrespect to Memphis. But top to bottom, Memphis is like the same player level good for all their players from 1 to 8. They don't really have any standout. But I also think Memphis, in my opinion, is a sleeper team to make a deep run, regardless. But I don't believe that anymore now that I saw that the region they were in. This was pre, NCAA tournament, bids and everything. I thought Memphis was going to make a deep run. But no offense, but I don't fault anybody in the West bracket having an early exit because it's honestly and truthfully the bracket of death. I mean, you can really see any team throughout it beating the other. Like, I don't like the only teams I don't believe seeing is Norfolk State's not going to beat Florida, and Omaha's not going to beat St. John. Sorry, but outside of that, I could see a world in which 3 to 14 they swing both ways. Not 50-50s obviously, but 25-75, 80-20, but not a 99.9 to 0-0-1.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
If I had to tell you an upset, it would be McNeese State to beat Clemson or High Point to beat Purdue, both on the same side. Main reason being, I think Clemson plays a little slow, and I think McNeese State for a mid-major that bodes well. And then High Point can just score way too easily. And I've watched too many games that Purdue just goes through routes of not scoring points. If you let High Point get on a little run, you're probably not coming back.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on High Point. I know they can put up some points in a quick one, so that wouldn't surprise me. And Drake as well. I know they love to control the pace of game, so if they can keep Purdue or Missouri to their style, then yeah, they can pull that one out. Women's are we gotta show some love to the ladies. Mason. I think what the 11th seed after winning the A10. We're going down to Louisiana to play, but we're playing Florida, right?
Oh, for the women's tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we play Florida State. And then University of Richmond girls was an 8 seed.
Yeah, they played Georgia Tech. Nice. Do you what confidence do you have in the Lady Patriots making a deep run, or do you think they'd be competitive against Florida State?
I think they'll be competitive. I don't know much about our team, but the one thing I do know is they can score and they can lock up, which is how you win games. Truth and nail, it's truly how you win games. I don't think it really matters though, because if we do get past Florida State, there is probably no feasible way I see us getting around LSU. That one just feels like it's too much to chew on. So a first round win against Florida State, by all means, way to go. That's amazing. We're gonna cheer. We're gonna be happy. And then if we get our cheeks clapped by LSU, we got to shrug our shoulders and say we knew it was coming.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, nice turnaround by the ladies. You know, a couple years ago they were not very good, and then we went to the game last year. Remember, we sat courtside, and we were like, "Wow, they really improved." They just had one glaring weakness, and no one can drive left. But hopefully, they fix that issue, and
Yeah,
shout out to
hopefully they
them.
have
Hopefully
one girl
they,
that can go left at least.
yeah. I give them a good shot against Florida State, like you said. They got a shot. Anything else you want to cover? WWE Raw was earlier today. It was at 3 p.m. I caught most of it. Um, Cody Rhodes and Cena had a little promo.
I heard it was a lot.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
didn't see any of it, but I heard it was a lot more yapping than it was a lot of fighting. Um, I know like the women had the contract signing.
Yeah.
And then Seth Rollins came out and talked for ages. I like from what I heard, it was a lot more yapping than it was battles going on. And did John Cena have a new song? I didn't see it either.
No, same song, same walkout, same jorts and shirt with the little farewell tour. He had a little promo that he cut. He was ripping into some fans. You can catch all the highlights on Twitter or YouTube. He was really ripping the fans, and they were saying "F you, Cena," and
Yes.
telling him to go home and stuff like that. It was crazy. The crowd was electric. I think they were in Brussels, so yeah, go check it out. I think it's mostly talking, but there's still some good matches in there, especially Braun Breaker and Finn Balor were the main event. That was a pretty good match at the end. So I recommend checking that out. And from Friday, the Street Profits unfortunately won the tag team championship. I don't know how you feel about the Street Profits, Lawrence, but man, I can't go down with them after what they did to Big E, bro.
The Street Profits. Is that just the New Day?
They used to be, and now it's like yeah, they after Big E, yeah.
Oh, I know who this is. I mean, I didn't pay attention very much. I haven't paid attention too much to this side of WWE, like tag team wise, and on SmackDown because I don't really watch SmackDown. I only watch Raw because they can say what they want. I don't know. I don't think I like it either. But I also didn't like DIY, so I thought they were.
Yeah, I can totally see that too.
Yeah,
Hopefully they
I
won't
think
last too long.
I think the tag team right now in the WWE is a little bland. Because what is it on Raw that they have those two guys? They look like Vikings or whatever.
Yeah. I don't think they wrestled in a while though. I
Yeah,
don't think they had a match in a while.
they don't ever get me excited to watch them either. So,
Yeah. I think the Hardy Boys are making a comeback though. I think they're on NXT on Tuesdays. They've been like pretty consistently defending their TNA championship. So I honestly think once their TNA contract is up, I think Triple H is going to bring them back
yeah, but the only
for one
problem is
last
Matt
run.
Hardy doesn't look like he can move half the time. His body,
Yeah.
like his legs don't bend, and it's mainly his legs. His legs don't bend. He literally walks like he's on stilts the whole time because I'm pretty sure his knees are just gone.
Yeah, he's not doing no swanton bombs anymore. He'll, do a twist of fate, but I think that's all he got. Jeff is still swanton bombing and doing crazy stuff. So I think they got one more run left in them. Like I said, I think once their TNA contract is up, or maybe if they generate enough noise, WWE just buy them out and get them one last run. I would love to see it. Hey, they're kind of cooking on NXT, to be honest.
Hey, it's easy to cook when you got a bunch of rooks. You can just beat on them.
Yeah, I agree with that one. All right, folks. I think that's gonna end this episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening on Spotify. All that good stuff. Don't forget to fill out your brackets. Hopefully, go win that pool. I got a couple pools I'm gonna enter this year. Hopefully you guys win some money. With that being said, guys, we're gonna head on out. Peace.